Welcome back to the politically incorrect peoples, or as some would like to say, the failed politically incorrect peoples. The politically incorrect peoples. Today we're going to be talking about the Dallas shooting that happened recently. I've been wanting to do this for the last couple days. Um, I'm Josh. We have DG and Jason joining today. Might be some other people joining throughout. I don't know. It's just possible. But welcome, guys.
Hello.
Hello.
All right. Basically, I guess what's been going on from what I had seen was on Friday night. Um, there were, I believe, 5 gunmen so far.
Yeah, yes,
Correct
yes,
me if I'm wrong.
early, yes, early Friday morning, late Thursday, early Friday morning.
That had shot, and the last time I had heard the death toll was up to 5 police officers during a Black Lives Matter protest outside of a police department or a courthouse. It was in Dallas, Texas, but I'm not sure the exact place. I think it might have been one of the two places. But the thing that I want to talk about is, it's really, I personally, I think that it's done a whole lot to, and I don't know how serious quote unquote hashtag Black Lives Matter was being taken. I know a lot of people were viewing them as a hate group, but whatever traction I think that this would have garnered for the Black Lives Matter protesters, I think it's all been taken away in this single act of violence because you can't shoot the police. You just can't do that. Um, I found out that one of the people arrested was he was a veteran, so he had actually served the country and had became a black nationalist. And I'm not sure if this was before or after. And had he was actually shot. His name was I can't remember. His name was Micah something. Does anybody remember his last name?
Michael Johnson.
Micah Johnson. Yeah, he said some pretty chilling things on his Facebook before this happened. I guess he was a part of some black nationalist groups through the internet. I'm not sure the whole story behind that, but as of today, I see that the Dallas Police Department's been getting more and more threats, which probably isn't a
Yeah,
good idea. Because I don't think this is going to be so much of a color thing. I think this is going to be let's give the. It's going to empower the government to fucking put us all in fucking cages. Be they black, be they white, be they fucking Asian, Hispanic. I'm foreseeing Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome when it comes to this. Fury Road Part Two. I'm not seeing a good. Yeah, it's you don't attack violence with violence. It takes me back to, um, and this has a little something to do with the Black Lives Matter protests. You know, um, it takes me back to Martin Luther King when he was doing the "I Have a Dream" speech, and when he said, people should be judged on the content of their character, not the color of their skin. And Black Lives Matter, quote unquote, that's taking that entire message, which obviously has stood throughout the time, and wanting to base it directly on the color of somebody's skin. So I really don't know. I'm kind of confused. I'm kind of scared what's going to happen to the dynamic of. I think the cops, and unfortunately, I think they're going to really I mean, everybody's dealt with cops. I mean, lots of people have even had police officers in their family. I know I have a few police officers in my family, and they don't take, uh, you know, getting having people like gun them down. It's like you gun a police officer down in Texas. It's like gunning somebody down in California or Ohio. It's
Yeah,
it's basically
it's
hunting season.
it's the brotherhood between between officers.
Yeah, so I'm kind of scared, especially right now. I'm scared for black people. And the reason that is because of the black people that have done this. They did this with like a rise up type mentality, and it's like, how the fuck are you going to, and this is in no way it would be the same if it was white people. How are you going to rise up against an armed force in your local communities, or even if it goes to your federal community? It's not going to happen. It's going to be really bad. You don't fight violence, at least what you're, even if you perceive violence. The cops that did what the protests, I guess, were about were the two men that had gotten shot, and the cops may or may not have, it was probably closer to may have, they did a really bad job in executing their duty. Especially in the one case. The other case, I saw some video on it, and I saw them throwing the guy to the ground. The guy did have a gun. He had it in his pocket. Is that a reason to shoot somebody? No. Do I think that's where poor training comes into play? Because there were two cops. One guy yells gun. The other guy, he doesn't know what that exactly means. I mean, he hears gun, he pulls out his gun, and he shoots the guy. Did he shoot him too many times? Yes, he shot him 5 times. But I know personally, I have heard that when you hear gun, you instinctively think, well, the suspect has a gun. Like, he's trying, I mean, you don't know what's going on through the police officer's mind. Like, is it in his hand? Is he, getting ready to use it? It was one big clusterfuck, and it wasn't a time to, let's start capping cops, especially in Texas, of all places. And I know you live there, Jason, but it's fucking Texas. You don't shoot cops anywhere, but you especially don't do it in Texas. Sometimes you just have to take your lumps. I mean, I think the cops kind of fuck with everybody, and you just have to stand back and say yes sir, no sir, and it might save your life.
Yeah, basically don't hold court in the streets.
Yeah, that's
Yes.
a good analogy. You hold courts in the street, you hold court in the streets, and you're not probably, you're going to lose every time. And an answer to that is, the answer is not to, get fed up and go on a shooting rampage. I mean, I'm sorry, that's terrorism. I mean, it's no different than a jihadi militant doing a mass shooting. So this is homegrown terrorism. But anyway, and we just does anybody have anything they would like to add to this? It might be a very, very short show. I kind of expected more people to be in here, but it was just something that I wanted to talk about. I know that there are other people that wanted to talk, but
Yeah, I would like to say something that happened today.
by all means.
All right. Well, the President Obama is in Europe right now. I believe he was in Poland when he said this.
Yeah, he was in Warsaw.
Yes, and he talked about all that has happened in the country, but he said that despite all this, don't believe that the United States is divided. I genuinely do like Obama, but he's very wrong on this.
I would agree, and I'm a person that I think that Obama is not a bad guy. I don't think that he's any worse than our last president. As a matter of fact, I think he's better than our last president. But as far as saying the United States is not divided, we are really divided right now. It's a shame, but it's the truth. And to try to tell the rest of the world that we're not divided, you're kind of spinning the yarn there.
Yeah, yeah. The recent accidents and other things happened over the last couple of years have have put in the forefront that Obama's being kind of a hypocrite.
Well, yeah, to say that the United States isn't divided right now is a very hypocritical thing to say. Well, I mean, I don't know if he's ever said anything to the contrary, but I mean, it's definitely it's a false narrative if he's trying to say the United States isn't divided. We are completely divided. Um, be it the black problem, the white problem, the police problem, the Mexican problem, the Islamic terrorist problem. We are a completely divided nation. It's a clusterfuck of, and one of the things I love about this country is you can have completely different ideas, and that's great. Ideas are one thing. Putting those like radical ideas to to practice is it's not a good idea.
Yeah.
I'm reading right now that the police quarters in Dallas are cordoned off by just blocks. They've cordoned off the police station because
Somebody made a threat.
Yeah, the threatening officers across the city. This is really dumb. This is probably the worst thing that could possibly.
Yeah, they're going after the wrong cops.
Well, that's
if they want to go at cops, they could went after the cops that actually did the actions.
Well, that's the thing. How itchy do you think these cops' trigger fingers are going to be now? Number one, they're going to be scared, and they're armed. They're going to be quick to pull those guns and quick to shoot and ask questions later. I have no idea. I mean, and to expand more on what you were saying about President Obama, Jason, is he was saying that Americans of all races and backgrounds are rightly outraged by the inexcusable attacks on the police, whether it's in Dallas or any place else. Well, yeah, that is absolutely true.
Mm-hmm.
But it's, again, another mass attack. And this is a homegrown. It does pose a problem, saying, well, maybe, social circumstances should be looked at if, a group of people feel so villainized or, looked down upon in society that they would have to act out like this. Maybe that should be looked at. I don't know. I don't have the answers for everything. But I do think, well, it's not just that I think, it's just morality. It sways me to a position to where I know, whether you're brought up this way or no, you should have a moral trigger that just knows you shouldn't kill another person. I mean, I know there's the military, wars are fought, people are killed, but in our own country, should we be killing each other over what seems to be really stupid things? And on top of that, killing police officers and police officers killing innocent suspects. Not all of them are innocent, but I mean some of them. Even if 10% are innocent, this shouldn't happen. That's why I'm for better training and higher pay for police officers and weeding out the bad eggs, because there are some bad eggs. Not all, but some.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm kind of terrified what this means for the United States moving forward. I don't think it's a good I don't think it's a good sign. I mean, it for me it goes to, I talk about gun legislation a lot. I don't talk about banning guns. I don't think anybody should ever. It is the First Amendment, or the Second Amendment. I'm sorry. Guns. It's our right as American citizens to bear arms. But I think that a lot of people confuse legislation with confiscation. And as of right now, I mean, if I ruled the world, the very first thing I would do was, especially with this just happening, is take all the pistols away from police officers, because I know they're going to go, coon hunting, literally and metaphorically.
Yeah.
And it's gotta find a way to make it more difficult for criminals to get guns. It doesn't mean banning guns. Maybe something a little more, along the lines of a few more background checks. I don't really know the answer. I think it's a difficult. I know there's two sides of that argument, where some people would say, no, you have to give more people guns. To me, that doesn't make any sense whatsoever. I mean, to some people, I guess it does. Personally, I think that's the backward way of looking at it. I'm trying to speak for those people, though, too, that believe that that's the way to handle things. I'm sure they have their reasons. I don't know if either of you are pro gun, but if you are, this would be the time to jump in and say, no, this is why people should. It's why I wanted more people to be in here.
When it comes to guns, I think I'm in the middle. I say, like, certain situation, guns need, a situation, well, you can say guns are not needed. Just I would, based on the situation basics when it comes to guns.
What's your position on guns, Jason? I mean, I know you don't carry around AR-15s, but do you have a position when it comes to guns? Did Jason walk away from his? We have his avatar in here. We just don't have Jason. Okay. Well, anyway, I guess, let's see here. There's still demonstrations going around the country against killings by the police. I guess just today they had some in Baton Rouge, Minneapolis. Hundreds of protesters were marching along the city streets, and they were closing down some intersections and wearing red to organize and symbolize the spilled blood. and in New York they were chanting "No racist police, no justice, no peace." That's the last part that is the terrifying part, the no peace part, because if
Yeah.
that's the case, the no peace, that's going to end up very poorly for black people in general. I mean, the whole and it's not, when I say black people make up what, 11% of the population in the United States.
13.
13%. Okay, let's range that from 11 to 13%,
Yeah.
and say half of that, not even half, let's say a quarter of that, because I know plenty of professional um, black people that I work with. I know, DG, you aren't out, protesting and throwing gas-filled Molotov cocktails at police officers.
Yeah.
But let's say we have a quarter of that percentage that are down with the no peace philosophy that I'm reading here. Um, that's going to end up really bad for that percentage of people.
Yeah.
I mean, 2% of the population, 3% of the population, trying to hold, 97% of the population with the no peace thing, is something like that is going to be almost, well, not almost, it'd be certain death for that 3%, and that scares me. I don't want to see people being shot over stupidity. And that's the whole
Yeah.
thing. Where's the education come into play?
Yeah.
Where are the people educating those people in that community that are saying, that should be saying, whoa, 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 let's back up from, the no racist police. I am fully on board with. They're not getting any justice. They don't think that they're getting justice, and they aren't for a lot part. I agree with that. The no peace part. That's the part where I'm like, ew, you had me until I hear no peace.
Yeah. Yeah. You basically call down the middle. Call the BS on both sides instead of picking one side.
Mm, the no peace part scares me. It doesn't scare me for the police officers. It doesn't scare me for the military. It scares me for the people that are chanting no peace. It could literally, in a week, hellfire could be rained down upon, and by chanting this sort of thing, cops, they don't discriminate when they have to, when they're deployed in like riot situations. Their training isn't, it's supposed to say, well, this person's rioting, this person's not rioting. It's going to be more of a, let's just get out there and beat the shit out of people and or shoot people. So I don't know. And again, um, 30 protesters were arrested in the Baton Rouge, and if they're protesting, then they shouldn't be arrested. But I'm going to guess that those protesters weren't protesting. Protesters, it's not the 1960s and people weren't marching for civil rights. If it has to say anything, when I've watched as of late the protests that are going on, the protests break down into anarchy really quick. They break down into rioting before it seems like a protest. And a lot of what I see does not look peaceful.
Yeah. 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 There are some hotheads in the with the protesters that ruin it for the ones that actually want to protest.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. When I will watch the protests, I will see a sector of people that just want to protest, and then there's a bunch of assholes that are there just to stir up problems. and then the police come in and they have to indiscriminately, get rid of everybody because they have to contain the situation. If somebody sets fire to a building, that's going to be blamed on the entire group of people, not just the person that set fire to the building or the couple of people that set fire to the building.
Yeah.
I don't see a positive outcome for this on either side. As far as the police go, I see their powers, their power might become more corrupt. They might go on more shootings, and as of being threatened, being shot, and just in this past Friday and more of a mass number, as just a human being, and an emotional response would be, I don't fucking blame them.
Yeah.
Somebody said they were going to shoot my family, I would, target the people that said they were going to do that. I wouldn't target the person, I would target that family or that group. So I can understand if that were to happen. I could understand that. Do I agree with it? No, I think that it's horrible, but I foresee it possibly happening. And I'm not the only one. And I know there's some people are going as far as saying, this is the end. The United States is going to get ready for martial law. Could it happen? Yeah, sure. Do I hope it doesn't? Yes. Do I hope things are going to be able to be worked out peacefully? Yes. Is that more of a pipe dream? Sure. I just, I don't know. Do you have anything more to say? I've been doing a lot of the talking.
Basically, want to say just seem like every time when it seem like things calm down, something always happens. Kind of like I think people were talking about last night, talking about maybe could be a government conspiracy. Like and also mentioned during the search offline about that the United States kind of seem like we're in the true like in like the movie Truman in like the movie Truman Show.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I kind of, you were mentioning something about that last night. It is one of the things that people are, that they're talking about. I mean, I understand there's a lot of talking amongst everybody because I honestly don't think that anybody really has an answer right now. The only thing that I can say definitively is that it's not a good idea to shoot police officers. It's just really not a good idea to do that. I can say that without a doubt. And anybody that could possibly be listening to this that would ever think that that would be a good idea to maybe take, quote unquote, the law into your own hands and, hey, if the cops were, if the police officers, if they were maybe taken down a notch by using excessive tactics back towards them, it's a horrible idea. They're the police. You really don't want to anger those boys in blue because they legally have guns to carry, and just like a lot of other citizens, but they are quote unquote the law. And they also have the judicial system on their side. So, bad idea, guys.
Yeah.
But I think I'm going to make this a pretty short show since I think DG, I think you and I are the only ones. I know Jason's in here, but I don't know if he's by his computer.
Yeah, he muted. He probably left. He probably was just listening to our discussion.
Thanks a lot, Jason, you piece piece of shit. Nah, I'm just playing.
Yeah.
We we'll do another one when we'll talk even maybe about this or something else when Queen, our lovely Queen, so we have a female perspective as well,
Yeah.
and another black perspective and a female perspective. So a 2-for-1.
Yeah.
So maybe we can talk about this more and maybe some other things. Sorry, this was mostly me talking. I apologize to anybody that may be viewing this and just like, yo, why is that one dude Josh just talking his fucking ass off? But
Yeah.
we didn't get as many people in here as we possibly would have liked tonight.
Yeah.
But until next time, do you have before I cut off? Do you have anything more to say, DG?
Basically, you kind of said all about like preparing for the worst, because it seems like it look like it's gonna be hell to pay for those cops getting killed, and also about people think might be inside the government. The government might have placed the Dow shooter to actually intentionally kill cops, and then also might think people also might think might be a farce, might be like I mentioned a few minutes ago about Truman Show. We just had to wait and see what happened within the next few days. How we move on from here.
Yep, there are definitely a lot of theories going on right now. Anyway, I'm going, and thank you, DG, for doing this, and thanks, Jason, for as much as you could possibly add, you eloquent son of a bitch. All right, leave a thumbs up if you can. Share, do whatever. Leave a comment. Thank you very much, and we will talk to you and have another show soon. So good night and good luck, guys.